inspiring entrepreneurs to rise, innovate, and create lasting impact. And today I have my special guest. She's executive leadership expert where faith, strategy, and real-world leadership collide. None other than Miss Rachel Bolton.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Miss Rachel, on Entrepreneurship 101. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Bolton, Leadership Development Executive. After spending more than 15 years in Fortune 500 and Fortune 200 organizations like Home Depot and Stanley Black and Decker. I'm also an executive coach where I have my coaching certification to help leaders become the rock stars they truly are meant to be. And I also run my own personal coaching and advisory business called Career Craft by Rachel. So it's great to be here.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Rachel. Here, Entrepreneurship 101, we celebrate you. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So today, let's talk about, of course, being you, being 20 years operating at the intersection of leadership, performance, and organizational transformation inside Fortune 500 as well.
Yeah.
Fortune 200. You
Yep.
spent over 20 years inside of both Fortune 500 and Fortune 200 companies. What's the single most common way high performing leaders break under pressure? And why does it happen quietly before anyone notices?
This is such a great question because they break on the inside before others can see it. The
Mm,
truth is, a lot of C suite leaders, those chief operating, chief executive, chief marketing officers, they're under tremendous pressure. And they often do not have a place to release that pressure. There's this saying, Daniel, they say it's lonely at the top. Have you heard that? It's lonely.
mm-hmm. Yes.
It is incredibly lonely at the top, especially when you are in the C suite. And so, where they break down most frequently or commonly to answer your question is with knowing how to navigate some of the uncertainty that is happening in their organizations. For example, you and I both know that AI is impacting a lot of companies right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so many of the questions that workforces have right now is it going to take my job? Is it going to take
Mm,
their job? Will we all have jobs in 10 years? And I think for leaders, when they have to go to bed at night, those are the things that really break them down. They don't have that answer, and they still have to wake up every day and go in showing confidence despite the fact that they're hurting inside. They're not sure what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. What's happened next? Mm. You talk
Mhm.
about weight of visibility and tension of constantly being on. Walk me through the specific moment when you felt the weight crushing you, and what did you the next 60 seconds to survive it?
Oh, yeah. This is a great question. And so many leaders know what I mean when I say they constantly feel like they have to perform. That's
Mm,
not
yes.
just from 9 to 5. Many of these leaders have families that they take care of, and they can't share everything that's happening at work, even with their families, their spouses, their friends. And so, unfortunately, they are isolated quite a bit and they don't have an outlet to let out some of their thoughts, concerns, feelings, right? And this isn't just women or specifically men or older or younger, it's across the board. It is across the board that tension of constantly being on. So, in my executive advisory practice, Daniel, one of the things that I share right up front as I'm trying to get someone to work with me is that I'm a space where you do not have to perform. You do
Mm-hmm.
not have to be on. I don't need the corporate you. I want the human you. And I find that no matter who I'm sharing that with, they finally get to take a deep breath, like, ah, I haven't had a space where I haven't had to be on in over 8 years. So if you think about that, that's pretty drastic, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, Miss Rachel, you've earned two gold awards for leadership development. What is a failure or miss your career that no award can fix? And what did teach you about what actually matters?
Yeah. Gold awards look shiny. They make us feel
Mm-hmm.
good, right? But
Yes.
they don't prove that your organization or that your program is perfect, is what I think I'm hearing you saying. And there are some things that awards cannot fix. For
Mm-hmm.
example, one of the things we're seeing in our market now is that young people are more hesitant to enter the workforce. And think about this as you were talking on a show called Entrepreneurship 101.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the careers of their parents per se. They don't want to work at an organization for 20 years, for 10 years. They want the variety of life. They want to be able to have work life balance, all those healthy things. And so, one of the challenges we're seeing in companies across different industries is the lack of young people entering the workforce, right? And either they don't think it's stable because we mentioned earlier AI, they worry, is AI going to take this? Is this something that I can rely on for my future? Or they just don't want the roles of yesteryear. They want what's new, what's next, what's fresh. So no matter how great your program is, Daniel, or how
Mm-hmm.
many awards you get, that doesn't help us when it comes to attracting that next generation into the workforce, right? They want to know that the culture is going to be healthy. They want to know that they'll get feedback on time. They want to know that their jobs are secure. And as I was mentioning before, for a lot of our C suite executive leaders, they can't answer that with 100% certainty. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well said, Ms. Rachel. Many leaders confuse performing with leading. What's one behavior you see in senior executives that screams performer rather than a leader, and how do you coach them out of it?
Yeah, definitely. I can tell when they start speaking to an audience. All right. Most of our leaders are placed in executive positions because they are expected to influence, right? They may know their craft really well, but also they're given that platform, that visibility again, so that they can influence the workforce. And as they start talking to whoever they're talking to, whether it's a group of young early career individuals or if they're talking to stakeholders during investment relations calls, I can always hear performance based on tone of voice. So we know when someone is reading, right? The human ear can tell when someone is being authentic and off the cuff and genuine versus if they're reading something, right? Or if they've rehearsed something over and over. And to me, rehearsal equals performance. If you're really being genuine, you don't need notes, you don't need to rehearse. And I don't know, maybe that's the secret to me today because I don't have any notes and I did not rehearse for our conversation today, but that's because I trust my voice and I trust what I know. And so what I coach my leaders to do is to start beginning to really trust their own voice. And for your audience as well, when it comes to entrepreneurship, anybody will tell you it's just you pitching your product, your service. And if you don't trust yourself, how can you expect others to trust and sign up with you either? And so I would say it's about trusting your voice. It's about feeling confident enough in what you're presenting or what you're speaking on that you don't need to rehearse because a rehearsal suggests performance.
Well, Miss Rachel, beautifully articulated, and you need an applause for that, or cheering squad.
I'll take it.
Definitely. Indeed. trust yourself, people, and the mindset itself. You say imposter syndrome shows up even at executive levels. What does imposter syndrome sound like inside the head of a Fortune 200 senior leader, and why is it different from entry level version?
Ah, this is great. I want you to think about the fact that most senior leaders at the top of big organizations suddenly find themselves having to do press, like press.
Mm,
They're on Bloomberg or MSNBC, or they're getting to do the opening bell, or they're having to discuss a shift in their organization or in their strategy. And all of a sudden, they get that mic on them and they're on Mornings with Maria or something like that, and they
mm-hmm,
begin to feel the exact same imposter syndrome that that individual contributor feels. And what that sounds like, Daniel, is, what am I doing here? Who do I think I am? I'm not some media expert, right? They are not used to being on camera where they're putting makeup on you and they're giving a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a green room that has their name on it, and they're not used to that. Or people are meeting them outside of the studio for autographs or for pictures, and they're not used to that. Most of these C-suite executives, they made their way to the top after years of grit and work, and they've poured their lives into that organization, but they're not media savvy. They're not pundits by nature. And so I
mm-hmm,
think where it shows up is, again, that visibility piece. Now they have to be on, but they have to be on camera. They have to be in a green room. They have to answer questions from an interviewer. And that feels very different than just being in your office on the 20th floor doing virtual conference calls, right? That's to
mm-hmm,
me where the friction of who I am and what I do start to grade on each other. Yes, I'm the CEO of this big company. But what I do is I help my company move forward. I make sure I balance the board of directors. I make sure that we do well year over year. What I don't do is TV. I've never done TV, and now I'm being asked to be on TV. And imagine, Daniel, I mean, you could see how that might, no matter your age, your race, your gender, if you're being pushed and put makeup on and you're giving a countdown and they hit the slate and you have to go, that can be
mm-hmm.
quite intimidating. Yeah.
Certainly. So, how do you build confidence under pressure in a leader who is technically brilliant but crumbles when eyes are on them?
We have a couple of things we can do to give them either temporary confidence, which is okay. And no, I'm not talking about the liquid confidence. We're not giving them shots of tequila. We don't want them going on with liquid confidence. But a couple of things that we can do. One is we can suggest a speaker coach. I am a career coach, I'm an executive advisor, but there are other coaches I know that specifically their whole niche is helping leaders clearly communicate on high stakes stages like a TV show, like a MSNBC or Bloomberg, right? Other leaders, they have such great thought leadership that sometimes they're invited to do a TED talk or TEDx or to be on a panel or to visit a school or university and speak or lecture. And it would be great if they had that support of a really well seasoned speaker coach who can help them work through the jitters, help them define their message clearly, and give them a couple of body language tactics and techniques that can help them feel more confident, including breathing exercises, clothing choices that make you feel more comfortable, reframes that you can use, like how to visualize the audience. And I don't mean the one where you think of everyone in their underwear, that doesn't work anymore. If anything, that just makes more people nervous. But there are ways to use your imagination to imagine you're only talking to one person. And I think that that has helped a lot of people. Another thing that I do is I tell them, give me the message as though you're saying it just to me. There's no camera, there's no microphone, there's no makeup person. If you had to say this just to me, how would it sound? And you should hear how clear and confident and natural they sound when they just believe that nothing is recording them. It's not high stakes. So once they've done that a few times, by the time they get into the actual scenario, they feel a little more at ease because they've rehearsed it one on one with no cameras, with nothing making them nervous. So those are two things that I've seen help. But some people are just a lost cause, Daniel. No matter what we do, they're going to get up there and speak out and say the wrong thing. And I've even found that that creates relatability. So we'll share with our very nervous ones or the ones who are more introverted. Hey, listen, even if you mess up, you're going to be so relatable. People are going to go, and I see everybody's not perfect. They're going to be able to do other takes. So even if you mess up, unless it's live, you get to re record it. It's okay. And so I think with those sorts of safeguards and confidences, they can push through a 7-minute interview if they have to, you know?
Mm. Well said, Ms. Rachel. You design enterprise leadership systems. What is the structural change any company can make tomorrow to make feedback less terrifying and more useful?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked about feedback. This is something that every single organization, every single industry deals with. Even you, Daniel, deal with feedback. I know you do, from your audience and from your viewers, right? And we
Sure.
all think of feedback as initially as this thing you have to brace yourself against, right? Like,
True.
okay, here we go. What do you think? When really, I like to share this quote that feedback is a gift, right? It's a gift. And organizations need to teach their leaders how to properly give that gift and how to properly receive that gift. And I love this illustration, Daniel, where I ask, wouldn't you want me to tell you if you have pepper in your teeth right now? I mean, if you had pepper or lettuce right here, would you want me to tell you, or would you want me to be polite? Let this go out to air to all of your beautiful walk viewers and subscribers, or would you want me to give you that feedback?
I think give me the feedback.
I think you would want me to tell you. And even if it's
Yes.
not food in your teeth, if your
Hmm.
zipper is down, if your shoelace is untied, whatever it is, that individual would want to know, right? And so
Yes.
if we start seeing feedback as just information, it's not negative, it's not positive, someone is just telling you have a little pepper in your tooth right there. Well, that would shift how you received it. It wouldn't be that terrifying. In fact, Daniel, you'd probably be like, hey, Rachel, tell me, do I have anything in my teeth? Do I have,
Yes.
you'd ask for that feedback. You'd be like, hey, how do I look? Do I look okay? And I think that that's where organizations need to help their leaders shift to, where leaders want feedback. We want to know, where can we improve? What are you seeing that I can't see? Feedback is just a way for you to look at your blind spots. You can't see that, but the person on the other side of the screen, the person who is in the building with you, the person who works with you, they can. And don't you want to know? And so wherever I'm at, whether it's head of leadership at Wesco, or I was just at Stanley Black and Decker, or even at Home Depot, I will always say feedback is a gift. And don't you want to know if you have pepper in your teeth? Right? Don't you want to know? And then, as a leader, let's say you see someone on your team and you know they've got pepper in their teeth. It's killing you. You can't focus on anything else. You're just like, oh gosh, I want to tell that person so bad. So we as humans, we naturally want to help others. And that's initially what I believe feedback is. It's help. Now, some people don't know how to give that help in the best way. It kind of reminds me of like a grandma or the sassy auntie who's like, you got some pepper in your teeth. Like they say it in a harsh way. And you're like,
Hmm.
come on. But at least they told you. At the end of the day, I don't care how you say it, just tell me so I can fix it. But ideally, you want to say it in a way that the person can receive it. So that's my take. We've got to start seeing feedback as a gift. What do you think, Daniel?
Definitely. It's a gift to make you better in the future. And Beautifully articulated, Ms. Rachel. You've recently integrated faith into your leadership conversations. What does trusting God in seasons of uncertainty look like in a Monday morning boardroom decisions, not in a Sunday sermon?
Oh yeah, Sunday to Monday is day and night. And I wear my faith around my neck, and many leaders don't even show their faith, but it is within them,
Mhm.
right? And so, how do they navigate being a strong leader, being a formidable leader, but also yielding to their beliefs at the same time? And I think one of the best ways, and I was just talking to a C suite leader last week, and she was sharing with me how her organization is undergoing massive change. I mean, massive, massive change. And she says on her Wednesday night Bible study, she's part of a women's group, and during her Sunday mornings and in her private prayer time, that is when she brings all of that to her faith, to her leader. And I'm sure there are different faiths that are listening to us today, so I don't want this to be exclusive at all, but sometimes we have to take what's happening in our professional lives and actually blend it and leverage it in our spiritual lives. They're not separate. They're not separate. In fact, I don't know about you, but I have prayed before meetings like, oh God, please help me get through this 30-minute
Mhm.
call that I'm about to get on. And I know I can't be alone, right? But I think for C suite leaders, for those that are handling entire functions of the business, it's even more reverent. They are carrying much more. There is a lot more at stake for them. And I think that that brings them closer to their faith, and they have to rely on it even more, especially when I was sharing earlier how lonely it is at the top. And so, if it's that lonely and you don't have outlets where you can express fully and not perform, well, guess who you've got? You've got your spirit, your spiritual faith. And I know that there are a lot of leaders at that level who really depend on their faith because I mean, they're flying in planes all the time. Let's be honest. They're they are often out of the office more than they're in the office. The stakes are high whenever they're out talking to respective workforces. And so if it's lonely, the good news is you're never really alone. And that is the role that spirituality can play in their leadership, especially on Monday when there's all the terrible meetings and calls that they've got to face after a beautiful Sunday of relaxation. So I think the faith is necessary the higher up you go, you know?
Definitely. So, Miss Rachel, to wrap up our discussion for today, you offer an elevator pitch ebook. What is the most common mistake professionals make in their elevator pitch that immediately makes the listener's eyes glaze over?
When someone says, "Hey, tell me about yourself. What do you do?" "Oh, I'm an engineer."
Hmm.
Well, our eyes roll because we're like, I didn't ask for your title. I want to know,
Hmm.
like, tell me more about you. And so I think that's the biggest mistake. If someone thinks
Yes.
that one, just by sharing my role or my title, that that's enough. A really good elevator speech, and it doesn't have to be done in an elevator, by the way, but a really good elevator speech incorporates three things: why you do what you do, what makes you special or unique in what you do, and then finally, what it is that you do. I call it starting with why. This is from Simon Sinek. Maybe some of your listeners have heard this. He's got a great book that's called It Starts With Why. But we would start with why we do it. So if I'm a leadership development expert, right, and I've got 15 years, blah, 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 and you say, Rachel, tell me about yourself. Well, you heard me earlier at the top of the podcast. Introduce myself. Well, I'm a 20 years in Fortune 500, Fortune 2. I help scale leadership development systems across enterprises that are global for organizations like Home Depot and Wesco. But when I'm not doing that, I'm an executive coach and advisors. And what I love to do is help people get to the next level in their career. I don't think you can roll your eyes when you say it that way, right,
Yes, definitely. They will tell very well said.
Yes.
Indeed. And Miss Rachel, can you please invite our listeners to support your projects or anything you want to promote on Entrepreneurship 101?
Absolutely. Well, first, I want to promote that you should go out there and be bold and follow your dreams, just like Daniel has. I mean, you've got a wonderful platform here. So thank you for having me. And yes, shameless plug. Will you please, if you are looking to get better at giving or receiving feedback, as we discussed earlier in the episode, or if you'd like to work on that elevator pitch so you can sound as smooth as me, you are welcome to find the links to my ebooks. These have been very helpful for those who are in transition, especially if you're coming out of corporate and going into your own entrepreneurship brand. This is the book for you. So you will have availability for that. And also, please find me on LinkedIn. I believe Daniel is going to share the link and my page. I'm very active there. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn as well.
Definitely, people, let's connect with Miss Rachel. For sure, if we are connected with her, there's a lot things to learn. So, Miss Rachel, thank you so much
Yes,
for your time.
this was wonderful. I enjoyed it. It went by too fast, so maybe I should come
So
back in a little
fast.
bit.
Please do come over on Book 101 Review and let's talk about your book itself, the elevator
Deal.
pitch.
There we go.
Please. Definitely. Yeah. More to come, people. See you soon.